everybody, and welcome to the grand reopening of Veterans Memorial Levee Park here on Riverwalk. Give them a nice round of applause. It's so great to have you here on this beautiful day. We've got a lot of entertainment coming your way tonight, and just a lot of fun, so be sure to stick around. We've got food up on top there, and with that, we're going to get things going right now. I'd like to introduce a gentleman who's been leading the city here for the last 10 years. His name is Mayor Paul Hicks.
Thank you. Are we on? All right, we're on. Great. Well, thank you. Can you hear me now? Well, usually people don't have a problem hearing me. Well, that's good. First of all, thank you everyone for being here today. It's a significant day in our great city, and particularly here in our riverfront. And I'm going to talk about that in a few minutes. But what I'd like to do at the beginning here is introduce my colleagues on the Hastings City Council. And they're sitting on my right. And I'll start right here with 4th Ward Councilmember Dana Elling-Schultz. First Ward Councilmember Tony Alonchi. 3rd Ward Councilmember Tony Nelson. At-large Councilmember Lori Brox. And 2nd Ward Councilmember Joe Balsani. Councilmember Mark Vaughn, the other at-large councilmember, couldn't make it here today, but he sent his wishes. And I'd like to also recognize a couple others that served on the City Council in the early stages of the Riverfront Renaissance planning. Former Councilmember Ed Ribness. Ed, wave. And Councilmember Barb Hollenbeck. I know she's around here somewhere. There she is up there waving. Thank you, Barb and Ed. I would also like to recognize a distinguished guest that we have here today. Many people don't realize that the Mississippi River from Dayton, Minnesota, as it winds all the way through Minneapolis, St. Paul, down to Hastings, is a national park. And we're very proud of that, and we are very blessed today to have the superintendent of the Mississippi National Park, John Effinson, who's going to speak today. John, thank you for being here. We have the Hastings Rotary Club being represented here today. On my left, we have John Hanson and Scott Northard from the Rotary, and they'll be speaking as well. Thank you for being here. You know, I got down to City Hall the other day, walked in the mayor's office and looked at some mail, and I opened this particular cool-looking envelope, and I thought, well, it's about this size. I wonder what's in it. So I opened it up, and I looked at it, and it's a picture of a beautiful young man. And his name is Jack Kane, who was at the bridge. He was at the bridge dedication about 3 years ago when he was about 2. And he thought that was exciting. And he wrote a little note on his picture. Behind his picture says, Mayor, I just want you to know that I'm going to be here at the Riverfront Renaissance dedication. That is Jack Kane. Where's Jack? Stand up and wave, Jack. Where are you, Jack? He's somewhere. He's going to be going to kindergarten this year. So we're glad to have you, Jack. There he is. All right, thanks, buddy. Okay. And thanks for that lovely note you sent me in your picture. Appreciate it. Uh-oh, I heard Dixie. Huh? There we go. You know, we've come together this afternoon to celebrate something very, very special. As we gather among our community's newest improvements along the riverfront, and upon the banks of one of the world's grandest of rivers, the Mississippi, the history and the story of Hastings begins here. The heart and soul of Hastings rests here. Our future is connected to our past on this spot right here. As I look around the new Riverfront Renaissance and all the wonderful amenities that have been built for the enjoyment of our residents and guests, the truly remarkable achievement is not only the bricks and mortar, but our community working together in a common goal for the common good. Therefore, it is proper for us to recognize such an achievement and those who have made it so. To the Hastings Rotary Club, raise your hand if you're here from the Rotary. Okay. Thank you. Hastings Rotary Club who advanced an idea. And I'll never forget when you first suggested it. I thought, that is great, because the city council was talking, we got to do something with our riverfront. We were kicking around ideas. One thing we didn't think about was a pavilion. What a great idea, and it all came at the same time. They worked so hard on an ambitious, successful fundraising campaign, and it was so impressive. And on behalf of our grateful community, Rotaries, Rotarians, thank you. The Rotary Club of Hastings, and to the generous contributors, large and small, all of you have made a difference, and we are seeing that difference today. To our Hastings business community, your support has been invaluable and needed. Your willingness to support this effort, despite the challenges of continued construction. We've had a lot of construction around here lately, haven't we? It's proof that as custodians of the heart of Hastings, you are the guardians of its future. And on behalf of the community, to the business community, we thank you. Thank you very much. To our wonderful veterans, the Hastings VFW and the American Legion, who aided in the planning and support of the new beautiful Veterans Memorial that will forever remind us and future generations of the sacrifices borne by our veterans. On behalf of our community, we thank you. To our consultant group, Bolton and Mick, and I've seen some of them up there. There's Jim, and then there's Brian here. Brian's actually from Hastings, so it was kind of unique to have him here. Also our general contractor, Sheehy Company. I don't know if there's someone here from Sheehy, but we want to let you know that we admire your innovative ideas, your skilled and talented work to help transform this riverfront for future Hastings generations. On behalf of a grateful community, we thank you. I would be remiss if we did not recognize our city commissions, whose input was invaluable. The Heritage Preservation Commission worked on this project. The HEDRA Commission, our Port Authority, our Economic Development Authority, worked on this project. We had a special pavilion advisory group that worked on this project. We have an arts committee that later on you will see a sculpture garden down at this end of the riverfront and more art up here on the top end. They worked on this project. Countless hours. Moreover, many thanks to the Dakota County Community Development Agency for contributing significant funding dollars and acknowledging the importance of this grand effort. What? And the Parks Commission, thank you. Yep, the Parks Commission as well. And for anybody I might have missed, you're included in there. Thank you. And finally, I want to talk about our city staff, whose commitment and dedication to this project was second to none. Our citizens owe a great deal of gratitude on accomplishing this goal. And on behalf of our community, we thank you. City staff, raise your hand. Let people know who you are. Thank you. Finally, I want to pay a special tribute to my colleagues on the Hastings City Council, whose vision and understanding of the importance of this riverfront to our region, to our community, for providing that leadership that is necessary to make a dream become a reality. So that future generations of Hastings residents will once again connect to their river. We thank you. Thank you, council members. It is here that Native Americans long ago crossed this river and found the natural turnips growing on the other side. And they found that as an important delicacy. And they did that quite regularly. It is here, at this spot, that Lieutenant Oliver and his soldiers came to this shore to make camp in 1820 while bringing supplies to a federal outpost, later called Fort Snelling. It is here, in this very spot, that the 1st Minnesota Regiment boarded a steamboat to answer President Lincoln's call to save the Union. And 4 years later, this same shore witnessed the heroic return, but with only a fraction of the men who made that journey. It is here that we found commerce and industry with lumber mills and an important port that carried grain and flour and goods. It was here that one of the very first train bridges to cross the Mississippi River in the nation was built. It is here that the world-famous Spiral Bridge brought visitors from afar, to be replaced by Old Blue, and now that was replaced by the longest freestanding tight arch bridge in the Western Hemisphere. It is here that all generations of Hastings citizens connected to their river in a way that was economic, recreational, and spiritual. This riverfront effort brings us closer to our river. That's what it's all about. Simply put, ladies and gentlemen, this place here, on the riverfront, it's who we are. A small river town, proud of its heritage, ready to engage our future. Thank you, and thank you for being here, and please enjoy all the festivities tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mayor Paul Hicks. Thank you very much, Mayor. And thank you folks that are standing up there. There's lots of seats right in front of you if you'd like to come down. Our next speaker is coming to the podium now from the National Parks. It's Superintendent, please welcome John Amundson.
Thank you, and thank you, Mayor Hicks. Thanks for inviting me here. I'm really honored to be at Hastings for this, and you couldn't have teed up better what I want to say. Because as I thought about these remarks, and I thought, what about the quotes and the history? I'm a historian at heart, although I'm superintendent and administrator now. So I thought, what in my history would I look to? And in this quote from the famous American writer Bernard DeVoto, in his book, Mark Twain's River, says, "The village slumbered in its sun till smoke was black above the bluffs, and someone cried, 'Steamboat a-comin'.' Then it woke and went to the wars to touch the infinite." This was pageantry, for the rivers were the conduits of the national adventure, and the Mississippi River was fable itself given life. This quote embodies one reason the National Park Service is here. The Mississippi River is one of the nation's and world's greatest rivers, greatest features. It's one of the most important ecological resources on the continent. And the stories of this river are so central to the American story, the American narrative, that one writer says it's as important to the nation as Old Glory itself. This year we are celebrating the centennial of the National Park System in America. And another great American writer, Wallace Stegner, explained that national parks are the best idea we ever had. Absolutely American, absolutely democratic. They reflect us at our best. You have one of the world's greatest rivers, and you have one of the world's greatest institutions right here at this place. The National Park Service is all about preserving and telling stories of great places. So is it surprising that Congress designated a part of the Mississippi River a national park? We have the greatest canyon in the country, the Grand Canyon. We have other great places that are the epitome of what they represent, designated as national parks. So is it surprising they would create a national park on the Mississippi? Probably not. But they designated one here. They chose a region of 72 miles on the entire Mississippi through the Twin Cities metropolitan area and made it a unit of the National Park System. We are the only unit of the whole National Park System whose mission is to tell the river's stories and protect its nationally significant resources. And from what the mayor said, you can see all the critically important national stories that occurred right at this place. What you've done at Veterans Memorial Levee Park and the River Walk, which I love over here, honors this great river and your unit of the National Park System. Hastings understands what it means to embrace its riverfront, recognizing that you can still touch the infinite, that the Mississippi is still fable given life. So thank you, Mayor. Thank you, City of Hastings, all of you, for what you have done here. Thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's John Amundson. At this time, we'd like to bring to the podium John Hanson.
All right, everybody, I think you look like you want a little exercise, so I'm going to ask for your help before we get started. First of all, Rotarians, can I ask you to stand or raise your hand, since most of you are already standing, and leave them up? Rotarians, raise your hand. All right. If you work with the city in any fashion, whether it's on staff or the council or anybody related to the city to make this possible, would you please stand? Anybody related? If you're somebody involved in somehow spreading the word for the pavilion in any fashion, please stand. If you helped in any way, if you helped with fundraising, if you actually contributed to the pavilion in some fashion, please stand. Look to your right, look to your left, and shake their hand because they made this possible. So when the Rotary came up with this idea back in the summer of 2012 when the dream began, we started off with a mission statement because we wanted to have something that really brought focus to what we were trying to accomplish. The mission was that we wanted to create a central destination in Hastings for all community members to connect and to share. So when I look back at the last 4 years, and I think of all the things that have happened, all the people that have been involved, it's just so inspiring, frankly, that this many people would choose to connect and choose to share. They chose to share their time, their expertise, their talent, and of course their money for a very large project. Now, I don't have time to thank everybody today, although I'm sure Scott will do a much better job than I do. But I want to hit a few highlights if I could. First of all, let's start with the Hastings Rotary. Oh, we're not the smartest group in the bunch, but we did put their hands down without having to say anything. That's very good. In any case, so we thought our motto is service above self. And so the first thing that we knew we had to do was to put our money where our mouth was. So we committed $50,000 to get the project started. Now this is on a $500,000 project, so it's just a start. Now keep in mind, we didn't actually have $50,000. What that meant was we had to spend 3 years selling wine tickets and roses, so that was a big commitment for us. And in the next year and a half or so, the Rotarians themselves stepped up and they just about matched us. We just about doubled the leverage. But more importantly, it was the time. We agreed to be a catalyst in the community to bring people together. And I don't know how many hours it was, but I think collectively, as a group of 30 people, it's got to be 2,000 or 3,000 hours in total. So it was just an enormous effort. Also, the district Rotary, who I think we've got a leader here today from the district Rotary. Where are you? There he is. All right. They also gave us a grant and gave us guidance along the way. So Rotary is just a part of the story. Let's talk a little bit about the contributors. Early in the program, I want to acknowledge the Ruth Gale and George Doffing board, because in the fall of 2013, they came forward and said, we really want to see this happen, and we're willing to contribute $100,000 to get you started, which is an enormous commitment. And not only that, but it added legitimacy to the project. So I want to personally thank the board, Diane and Fareed Syed, and Jeff and Stacy Carlson for all of their help. Also, in the not that long after that, Melody Mescal-Lee, the city administrator, and myself, we applied for a grant from the F.R. Bigelow Foundation and the St. Paul Foundation. And this has been a very collaborative effort. They gave us a very substantial contribution. And what's interesting is one of the key reasons that they awarded it to us is because of the degree of collaboration that existed on this particular project. So that's something to be very proud of. Also, it wasn't all that long ago. Paul Hicks and I were over there at the Onion Grill. We were having lunch with Butch, right? Yeah, Butch Ames. And Butch is one of the owners of the Ames Construction Company, and one of the 3 persons responsible for the bridge. We showed him some pictures. We pointed to the river, and he said, "I'm in." He didn't exactly say that, but we knew he was in. Yeah, and so not only was the amount substantial, but also the timing was substantial, because we really needed a boost at that point. In addition, I wanted to acknowledge that the arts community was externally involved all the way throughout this project. I want to in particular acknowledge the Hastings Prescott Area Arts Council and Dick Graham, their president. They were involved from the beginning, providing guidance, establishing relationships, and in general, sharing the vision. They themselves are building, with Art Space, that I should say, the Artist Lofts right over there in the very near future. Now I want to talk about the unsung heroes. I gotta tell you, the city. The city council, the mayor, the city staff, I cannot tell you how much that they did all the way through this project, and I mean all the way through the project. You know, the land that this is built on, because the city made it happen. The amphitheater you're sitting in, it's because the city made it happen. The landscaping in the park around you, it's because the city made it happen. These things don't just happen, as you all know. So I want to thank the city as well, and the city staff, and the staff under the guidance of Melody Miskell lead, and Nick Egger, the engineer. Also, I wanted to mention that when we first started this project, there was a couple of people who really helped get it off the ground. You can imagine when you first say you want to do it, and then about a month passes and you realize you actually got to do it. It's a lot of work. So Tom Montgomery, who was at that time with the city and the Rotary, as well as Greg Stocko of Stocko Speedling, they spent, I don't know how many hours, I'm guessing hundreds, getting all the designs together, this, that, and the other. It's just amazing. And then Greg Stocko talked to David Harris, who's sitting in the audience today. David, raise your hand. Where are you? There he is, back there. He's an architect that's local, and he said, you know what, I would love to do this design for you, and I'll do it for free. And the design that you're looking at, the concept of the design is what we came up with. And along with that, I want to acknowledge Parsons Design, because Parsons Design, there's somebody in the audience here there as well, they are the ones that designed the bridge. So, that's fantastic. And then last but not least, none of this would happen unless we can get the word out. So the Hastings Gazette, I mean, we're a volunteer organization. We can't afford to be buying marketing. At every turn, they would give us press. The same is true with KDWA, Kelly Casey Spavin, as well as public television, Tom Wright. So I just want to thank those folks as well. So here we are. It's a nice day. It's a beautiful building, but really it's just a building. And what I mean by that is the vision is for people to connect and share, to get together and collaborate and to be together. And what's exciting is it's already starting to happen. On Saturday at 5 o'clock, there's a military band performing here. I think the veterans organized that, and Dean Markuson. Paige Marshall is the city program director. She's got things planned all summer long. The Hastings Rotary and the Doffing Fund are putting together a concert series, and on August 13th, it's their first one. It's going to be a Bruce Springsteen tribute band, so I hope you can all come. And the Chamber of Commerce is even jumping in because they're going to have some of the Rivertown Days entertainment here. So thank you much. And at this point, I would like to turn it over to Scott Northard.
All right, I'm just going to take a few minutes because, as John mentioned, there were a lot of people that made this happen, and a big group of folks, over 185 individual contributors, both companies, foundations, and individuals contributed to make this pavilion possible. We raised over $560,000 to build this structure, and that's a great contribution and a legacy that we're going to leave to this great city and great community. And I'm really proud to say I live in Hastings and to see something like this get developed. As John mentioned, one of our lead contributors was the Ruth Gale and George Doffing Charitable Fund, and he mentioned Diane and Fareed Syed and Jeff and Stacy Carlson, a big part of getting the foundation to really get us going in this fundraising effort. We had a number of contributors at the platinum level, which is $25,000 or more. We do have a recognition plaza here down below. You can look at that after we're done. But Ames Construction is prominently featured. Don and Sandy Bolkin. Hastings Ford, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram. Doug Erickson is a big force behind their contribution. The Prairie Island Indian Community and Treasure Island Resort and Casino were a big part of this. I think Cindy Talby is here today. The Rotary Club of Hastings, as John mentioned, we matched the club's donation, and all the Rotarians were all in with individual contributions as well. Contributors at the gold level, which is $10,000 or more, we had Greg Stotko, David Harris, the architect, John and Anita Balls, Jeff and Stacy Carlson, Innovative Services, which is Bruce and Sherry Akins, Vermilion State Bank, John Pable, and Tom Montgomery. At the silver level, $5,000 or more, we had Nick and Cheryl Kazemius, Dakota Electric Association, a Touchstone Energy Co-op, Dynamic Structures PC with David Center, Dave Harris, the architect, Hastings Prescott Area Arts Council, Lunda Construction, one of the big companies behind the bridge, Merchants Bank, Parsons Corporation, as we mentioned, also involved with the bridge construction and design, the Wally and Penny Pettit family, and Provincial Bank. In addition to those contributors, we had 59 contributors at the bronze level, which is $1,000 or more. We do have a flyer that we're passing out that has all of their names on there, plus about 100 additional contributors of less than 1,000. So, you know, when they say it takes a village, it really takes a community like Hastings, a generous community, to help make something like this possible. So I want to thank all those donors. Thank you. One other thing I'd like to mention, the Hastings Veterans Organizations, we're very proud of the War Memorial down here on the riverfront. And in order to accommodate the construction of the pavilion, the War Memorial was moved to a very great spot that the pavilion is overlooking next to the river down on the levee. And they're having their dedication tomorrow at 6:30. So we invite everyone to come back down here tomorrow night at 6:30. Yeah, I think the dedication's tomorrow at 6:30, so I invite you to all come back down for that. And remember the veterans and all those who served this Memorial Day weekend. So thank you very much, and I'll turn it back over to Chuck.
Thank you, Scott. As Scott said, there's a whole bunch of things planned here at the Rotary Pavilion. In fact, I was looking at the schedule. There's 9 events in June. There's 10 events in July, plus 3 additional ones that will be tied into Hastings Rivertown Days. There's 8 events in August, and then another 9 in September. So it's going to be a lot of fun this summer. We hope you get a chance to come down often and use the Rotary Pavilion. At this time, we're going to invite Christy Barth, Chamber President, to come up. And I think we're going to have a ribbon cutting ceremony. All right. All right, we're going to, Christy, we're going to unveil the plaque that everybody is to my left, your right. And it looks like John Hanson is going to do the unveiling. And everybody count to 3. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Oh, there we go. Very nice. All right, Christy, come on up. Christy Barth is the Chamber President here for Hastings, and she's going to give the big scissors to Mayor Paul Hicks. And John Hanson's going to join Scott Northard, John Ampheson, and the rest of the dignitaries. Now, Mary, it's going to take a couple people to run the scissors, right?
Sometimes I do this for the budget.
Are we going to give another countdown? All right. This time we're counting down from 10, all right? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3,